So welcome to the 2024.5 annual report for CDFI Friendly South Bend. I'm the executive director of CDFI Friendly South Bend region. Sam Centellas, if you don't know me, I think most of you do because I probably the one that invited you. But excited to share this report. I want to do a couple housekeeping things. We are recording this, so please keep yourself on mute unless you need to ask a question, and we'll try to do that at the end. If you do have a question, I don't want you to forget what it is. Feel free to write it in the chat. I'll try to watch the chat. I got a couple board members here that can watch the chat for me too. If it's something right away you want to get my attention on, then we'll make sure we address that. But if not, I'll try to save questions for the end if we can. I think we should be about 30 minutes of the actual presentation here. And then we'll have some chance for question and answers and some discussion at the end as needed. And as always, we encourage folks to follow up with us later if you can, need to, or want to. That would be always welcome. All right, so let's get rolling. The background of our annual report this year was pictures from throughout the region. So we were originally founded, and we'll talk about this in the report too, to serve the city of South Bend, but we're really serving a whole region now, and that's everything from the rural parts of the region to the cities. And so we wanted to make sure we had a nice collage that kind of showed the whole region that we serve. And so I mentioned earlier the 2024.5 annual report, or annual-ish report. And so a lot of nonprofit organizations do an annual report where you kind of like take this like January 1 to December 31st and just answer whatever happened there. But we had a couple really exciting pilot programs we launched in late 23. And then we had a couple things that wrapped up. We had a big ribbon cutting on January 8th. So there was no reason to not include that in last year's annual report. And so the report's a little more than 12 months. A couple of the things that we'll talk about are specifically 12-month items like our budget and other things like that. But we wanted to make sure that we were able to cover these two really key pilot programs that we launched in late 23 and talk about those as we kind of roll through. So I'll note where we have things that were specifically to a program and maybe not time boxed, and then other ones that were specifically an annual item. The other thing too, as you mentioned, as you could kind of see my screen moving around, this is designed to lay out kind of like the booklet we will ultimately print as an annual report. And so we're running through it, and then I'm kind of zooming into things like here, zooming into our budget for the year. So we're a small startup. We launched in really 2021 was our first operational year. And, we were seeded with some funding from the city of South Bend. And so it took us a year to kind of get our footing. I joined at the end of that year. And so since then, we've ran a balanced budget, have some retained earnings every year. The green line there is our capital fund. We'll talk more about how we're using our capital fund to help local developers and small businesses access capital. But we were designed as an organization to be pretty lean and mean. And whereas we've still been growing, it's been fun to see. And if you see at the end there of the 2025 timeline, not sure if the faces are covering it, it covers it on what I can see. But we actually ended 2024 just $10,000 short of having $1 million between our operational reserve and our capital fund. About 850,000 of that in our capital fund, and then about 150,000 in capital reserve. So we've grown a healthy nonprofit organization that's sustainable and built to last. And we're excited to share with you some of the future things that we've got going on for the organization. First and foremost, no nonprofit organization can do what it does without a dedicated board of directors. Before I introduce our chair, Paula Sowers, I want to do a shout out to our former chair. She's in the left-hand side here, and Ann couldn't be on the call today. I was disappointed. She was pulled away, but Ann Mannix was our previous board chair. She's actually a founding board member of the organization, and I wanted to give her a shout out. There's one person that I always trust to speak their mind and tell us what she's thinking and bring tremendous expertise. And so Ann was very, very helpful during the incubation stage of CDFI Friendly South Bend. She welcomed me when I was hired as the executive director of the organization. And so really thankful to Ann and her time and dedication to CDFI Friendly South Bend and the community in general. And she's really focused her attention now on a couple other community projects, one specifically 466 Works, doing work right here in the neighborhood that I live in, and other community projects. And so I wanted to make sure I gave her a big thank you. Before I turned it over to Paula Sowers, our new chair, to share a little bit about our board and their work.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sam. First, I want to thank you, Sam, for the hard work and dedication you've done over this past couple of years. It's been amazing just to see CDFI grow and the connections that you have. And also, I want to echo exactly what you're saying about Anne, during the start of the process and serving as our board chair for the last 2 years. It's been an amazing ride. And yes, you're right. She says it to the point, and I love that about her. That's amazing. Um, Sam, as you mentioned, yes, my name is Paula Gudelia Sowers, and I am the current board chair. And I want to thank this hardworking group of board members. Each and every person of this board has been amazing, and they've been all working really hard to take us to the next level. They are volunteers and they have their own business and they're busy and they have families. So it takes a lot to be a board member. We each joined because we believe in the work that the CDFI Friendly is doing. And everything that they do, all the people that we worked with, just to hear their stories has been great. If you see any of them around, you see their picture right there, buy them some coffee. Thank them for the hard work that they're doing. We'll have to go up and see Manjima where she's at because she's not in South Bend, but she's an amazing person to get to know too. Also, if you are interested in being a volunteer, get with Sam or even myself. Connect with us, and then we'll see what's going on. Our board has committees and volunteers that you can join, or maybe someday just join the board. I'm going to hand this back to you, Sam. Thanks for the opportunity.
Excellent. Thank you, Paula. And thank you again, right, to all of our board members. Their volunteer support and expertise that they bring is critical for the work we're doing. So I hinted earlier about regional expansion. So I want to talk about our regional expansion specifically. I love this image that I snagged from a South Bend Elkhart Regional Partnership brochure that they had, which highlights this region. And for us, we're really serving just those core couple counties there in the middle, but that's their full footprint. And so when we first got started, like I mentioned, dedicated to kind of the work around South Bend and the urban neighborhoods, we right away got questions. Well, what about here? Could you help this business here? Could you help here? And getting pulled into Niles. And it's hard to say no because I don't want to drive that far when it's just 15 minutes, right? Or because it's over a state line. And so we knew that one of the things we wanted to do is that capital access is something we just can't draw arbitrary lines around. And so we did a little work and some fundraising. We'll talk about some of the grants that helped make that work happen, but we expanded to serve this greater area, the South Bend Elkhart region, formerly known as Michiana, as people say. And so, I wanted to make sure that we were able to connect with those that need our support. We also want to make sure we give a big shout out to the Chamber of Commerce's that we've had an opportunity to work with. Both the Greater Elkhart and Greater Niles Chambers welcomed us right away, which was great to be able to do programs and meet and interact with the businesses in their communities. And so it's been a great way to connect and help us reach more people. Next slide. And so one of the things too, as I mentioned, probably one of my favorite reasons about working up in Niles is getting to know all the cool restaurants and food places up there. I will probably say today a lot of times, like one of my favorite things, because I have a lot of favorite things, but one of my favorite things is getting to work with food entrepreneurs because I love food. And so here highlighting one of the food entrepreneurs we worked with here in South Bend, a Bite With Me. And so, right, when we work with businesses, one of the things that we really try to do is, we were founded to help find alternative methods, flexible methods for finance for small businesses. And one of the core parts of who we are is connecting with CDFIs, with community development financial institutions. For those of you that have seen me speak in the community, I talk about that history and that background. And today I wanted to have one of our board members, Manjima from Chicago, as Paula alluded to earlier, to share a little bit about kind of our work with CDFIs and some of our outcomes related to that work. Manjima, if you can come off mute.
Thanks, Sam. Hi, everyone. I am a board member and of CDFI Friendly here, and I'm happy to be speaking with you all today and sharing a little bit more about our focus in partnering with CDFIs. Before this organization got started, thanks to CDFI Friendly America, there was no consistent CDFI involvement in the region. And since then, and really a lot of this is due to Sam's hard work, we have now established relationships with 6 different CDFIs that are focused and interested in investing in the area. Our local businesses and the local community here. So we're tremendously proud of that, and that number has grown every year. Um, and what that means is a lot of this is that we can increase our visibility in the work that we do. And so, as noted on these slides and some of these stats, Sam is really great at the PR side of things, and we've been on the news, we've done ribbon cuttings, new grants really focused on increasing the visibility of our organization and of CDFIs as well, and the impact that they can have on our local businesses and local community. In addition to that, the core part of what we've been focused on are some financial education opportunities and presentations as a way to reach more people in the community and provide guidance and input and education related to any financial related issues a business owner or a community member might be facing. And with all of that, we are proud that we went from virtually no CDFI involvement in the area to 21 CDFI loans closed in the region with 6 different CDFIs as mentioned.
Cool. Well,
With
thank
that,
you
I'll
very
turn
much.
it back to you, Sam.
Yeah, thank you. And it's been great to have expertise. Anjima has worked in the CDFI industry for a long time and has also been a great mentor to me as I learned this industry coming from community development, coming into community development financial institutions. So thank you for your support and for helping cover a couple of our facts here. But as we roll along, I actually want to talk a little more about a Bite with Me. And we're going to transition into talking about one of our next programs, and that's our capital coaching program. And so a Bite with Me was a business we actually originally worked with one of our first products that we launched in the community, which was our Fusion Fest food vendor fund in support with the city of South Bend and Venues, Parks and Arts. And that was a program where we helped them get a $2,500 line of credit to purchase some equipment when they were, catering. And then ultimately, when they returned to us a year later and said, "Hey, I think we're ready to get that food truck," and we were able to pair them with a capital coach. Shout out to Nick. I'm not sure if Nick Ladig made it, but their capital coach is somebody in the food industry from the Fort Wayne area, and he came in and helped coach them and worked them through to be able to get an RLF loan from the city of South Bend to purchase their food truck. And so, which is my other favorite thing, another favorite thing that I love in this business is doing ribbon cuttings. It's just really fun to watch a business owner get the opportunity to cut a ribbon on either a new product, new place, new location. And you'll see quite a few ribbon cutting photos throughout our presentation today. But not only were they able to grow their business, but they actually got featured in the Indiana Economic Development Corporation's yearbook last year. And we went down for the event where they showed that and they got their plaque there. And it was great to get to work with them. They've been a great partner, and they're actually going to cater an event for us coming up here soon that we're actually going to share with you all the date of that event. So talking a little more detail on the capital coaching program. And so this was a program that when we were launched, one of the things that we weren't doing and we didn't want to do because there's great other resources in the community was the nuts and bolts of starting a business, writing a business plan, setting up your financials. How do you do an LLC, or what's your process, and all those types of things that there is a lot of technical assistance in the community to do. But what there was a gap in the community was, so when you are ready or looking to apply for a loan, what does that mean? What is DTI? What are all these acronyms? What does amortization really mean? And all these different factors that a lot of businesses didn't understand. And it actually kind of helped me stepping into it because I didn't understand all those things. I'm like, right, we need to learn and understand these things if we're going to help people get to capital. And so we took that fledgling idea to the Indiana Small Business Development Center and worked with Alan and the team over there to say, what if we developed a program? We ended up calling it capital coaching that fits that space of a business has their nuts and bolts. They're ready. They're capital ready. We use the term. And we need to help coach them to learn the financial terms and education that they might need to understand what's happening well, so they can also be well prepared to make those decisions and decisions in the future, and help them prepare and apply for what the best lending option could be, and also help direct them to what a great CDFI would be or another potential other local lender. As we mentioned, we've done some loans with the RLF, with the city of South Bend and some other partners. So That was the design of the program. What helped us expand that program was actually a grant from the IEDC helped us get the program started, and then a grant from Flagstar Bank is actually who really helped us launch that, especially into other markets through a grant of theirs. So we wanted to make sure we thanked the funding partners and the design partners that helped put that program together, and the list of capital coaches that have helped make that work happen. Mark Neal, Nick Ladig. I'm gonna blank names. I didn't write them all down. Ann Mannix was one of our capital coaches as well. She's who worked with Miss Willie from the earlier, from a later slide is coming up. So we've had a great group of coaches that have been helping out with this work, and will continue to grow it. So the other one that I want to mention here before I talk about some stats from capital coaching is our other financial partners that have made this work happen. So I mentioned Flagstar Bank, but there's been a myriad of financial institutions that have helped over the years, from our incubation period to some recent grants. Old National Bank is our most recent funder. We 2 weeks ago found out we got a grant from them to help with our capital coaching program this year. And so to our financial partners that are here on this call or will watch this video later, we're always seeking for whether that's sponsorship opportunities for an event or grants to continue to do our operational programming that's important. And so we wanted to thank the financial partners here for their work in supporting our programming here. Thank you. So Miss Willie, I mentioned that, right? So Ann is who helped coach her. And so I want to talk a little bit about Miss Willie, and then we'll talk about some of the outcomes of our capital coaching and share her background. But she was actually the first ribbon cutting I did. I'd only been on the job like a month and a half, and we helped Miss Willie expand her business from her home to a rental space in downtown South Bend. She got a loan from Allies for Community Business to buy inventory and to help open that shop. And then ultimately last year, we worked with her and the city RLF in order to get a loan to be able to purchase a building for her to operate her business out of. So it's been great to see this kind of growth. I'll share a couple things about what she's got going on next here as I share some of the stats on the program. And so, right, part of the program was doing some educational workshops to get out and connect and provide the educational pieces. It was fun. I just did one in Elkhart a couple weeks ago, talking about the 5 C's of credit and providing the educational part of the capital coaching program. When we get with capital ready businesses, we've worked with 19 of them so far through the program that have been coached. We provided over 100 hours of coaching to those businesses, and we helped those 19 businesses close 11 loans totaling almost $1.3 million. And so that's been the growth of this program in St. Joe County, and now expanding into other counties as well. And it's been a great result. We want to thank our banking partners, thank our coaches who've helped make that work possible, and really appreciate everybody who supported the businesses who are involved there. I'll tell you a little more about Miss Willie's story. This was her ribbon cutting from early or mid 2024. And she went from operating a small business out of her house, which is what a lot of us do, right? Or their garage or the trunk of their car, into a rental space. And then we helped her transition from a rental space to a building that she's purchased. It hasn't been without challenges. And I know right now she's actually excited about the next phase that she's working on. And I got to plug her. She's got an event this Saturday. So it's also small business awareness right now. So it counts as part of our meeting here. But this Saturday, she's doing a Mother's Day pop-up event with vendors outside. But she's also now able to support other small businesses. So she has some small rental spaces in her building, some in different states of readiness. So some of them could be a partner to come in there and help her paint and fix up a room that could be yours for your small business. And some others that are pretty ready, whether that's a barber, salon. She runs a beauty supply store, so there could be some great synergy there. But it's been great to see her growth as a small business owner, and we're proud to continue to support her in different ways as she grows and expands. There we go. All right, so our next new product and program, and I know I saw Jerry come on here, so there's your picture, Jerry, of us meeting. So I really am excited about this program for a couple reasons, because it's been unique in the market. We're actually presenting about this program in Indianapolis on Thursday at the Prosperity Indiana summit that they're having in Indianapolis. And so one of the things that we did right away in our programming was that we were connecting with local developers who wanted to create more affordable housing. We were connecting them primarily to Senair, an affordable housing focused CDFI. It's actually headquartered in Lansing, Michigan, but we work with their Indianapolis office. Many of you might have met Keith Broadnax, who's been up here several times, just here last week for a ribbon cutting. And we were able to connect developers to capital. And so, but one of the challenges that we ran into, and I'm going to share some of the numbers, hopefully y'all can see it. I know some of you are, I hope you're not driving while you're watching this, Beth. I know some of you are in your car, but if you can see the screen, in general, our developers were spending about $190,000 to purchase and rehab a property to bring it to safe quality standards for a family. And what would happen there is that the appraisal would end up being too low. And I don't want to go through all the details because not everyone's in finance, but I'm happy to run through all the details with you one-on-one if you'd like. But right, a developer has spent $190,000 based on the income from the rental. It'd be easy to cover a mortgage of that size. But because of the appraisal of the property, which you can see here, generally the roundabout numbers at around 205,000, it means a developer would only be able to get a loan for about $155,000, which means they've got to come out of pocket for maybe over $35,000 per property. And this is one of the reasons why people don't invest in the neighborhood, because it's hard to get a return on that quickly. And so that keeps people away from doing it. And part of that, the reason that number comes there is from, we use the term appraisal gap. And so I've defined it there. This will be in print in our booklet too. You can see some additional details. But we started talking to our developers and going, well, there's this gap and how are we going to meet that? And oftentimes there's kind of two market solutions generally here. One of them is hard money lenders that do debt service coverage ratio loans. And so that means based on the developers bringing in the cash flow to service a debt of that size, but can't qualify for traditional financing for it. So they do some type of alternative lending. It generally tends to be more expensive and not something that's very sustainable for a developer if they want to grow and scale. Or they do side-by-side loans. A lot of other communities have done that, where then a developer gets a loan for the amount they're able to finance traditionally, and then they get a second loan for that $35,000 gap that's been created. So as we were talking with our developers, it's a picture of me actually from the IEDC yearbook from 2022 with Jordan Richardson, who was our first Senaire line of credit like this in South Bend. Was a conversation around like what could we do to help solve this gap, to prevent them from either having to get expensive permanent finance or having to find alternative methods to the work. And so working with a couple of our developers, at that point we had several properties that were getting close to completing rehab. I had the opportunity to sit down with Jerry Langley, who was actually on the call. Thank you, Jerry, for the help. And we had a conversation around like, what could we do? What are the numbers here? And at that point, we were really fixated on the appraisal's too low. What can we do about the appraisal? If the appraisal was higher, we'd have the equity needed and we could close this loan. And oftentimes the appraisals are low for a myriad of reasons, especially in historically redlined neighborhoods. And so I remember Jerry said it plain as day. He goes, well, the problem here is you have missing equity. And where could we find that equity? And so we had that conversation around what that could look like. Jerry's a board member at the Notre Dame Federal Credit Union. And so we had a conversation around what could we do to one, find this missing equity and put it into one of these deals. At that point, we approached the city of South Bend and a local foundation, and we were able to raise some money for a pilot program to help put this alternative equity into a project. And so what we've done, you can see our $35,000 item there we've mentioned as this equity needed. What we've been doing is we've been providing funding to the financial partner to help secure the loan. And this is where I don't talk good bank terms, because I just like to speak layman's terms of finance. But basically our $35,000 goes on top of the collateral, the equity from the property, to create enough collateral equity there to be able to close a loan. And those are my layman's terms. I know Jerry will probably give me a hard time that I'm not using all the legal terms that I should here, but basically we're cross-collateralizing a loan with funding we provide. It's not a subsidy. It sits there to make sure that the developer is able to get the loan that they need. And then what ideally happens then is that as a developer either sells a property or refinances it, our money comes back to us, and then we're able to recycle that money into another deal. So that's the quick and easy of how we've described that. This is the first ribbon cutting we had of 2025. This is the one I mentioned in early January. And this was one that Jordan Richardson did. And so we went from helping him rehab properties to now he's doing some additional new build properties as well. And I wanted to share some results of what we've done with this alternative equity program. So within the about 15 months of the pilot of the program, we closed 10 loans. Those made up 23 affordable housing units. Several of them were, multifamily, of course. And so it's 23 different units that we were able to support. We used about $280,000 of about $500,000 that we raised to be able to do this pilot. So we're about halfway through our funding. And that amount actually helped us leverage almost $1.7 million of investment in these neighborhoods. And so, which is phenomenal for me to see that, because ultimately that 280K that we have into these properties is going to come back and be recycled again into the next project. It's been uberly exciting for me to see this working and helping developers scale to be able to do more work. And now that we're more public about it, we've not been sharing this. This is the first time we've really publicly talked about the program. We already have a few more developers who are now starting to be interested in this program. We had a workshop last week with the Jumpstart Indy folks from the Martindale Brightwood CDC. And we're sharing this idea with others to see, hey, it's a pilot and it's still early stage, but it's been working really well. And we're hoping this is something that could be replicatable and not just throughout our region, but in other parts, other communities as well. All right, next. So here's one of my fun kind of graphs where we show the growth of the organization from a lending perspective, but also from the amount of loans. And so this is talking about our CDFIs and our CDFI partners. So I know we've got quite a few of them are on here. I haven't been able to scroll through the list of who's on right now, but I wanted to make sure I shout out. I already talked about Scenair a little bit, and Keith, our partner, he's actually moderating the panel that I'm on Thursday in Indianapolis. Sci-Fi, Phil and Vicente and Charles and everybody there have been great at connecting with several of our small businesses. We've referred to them. IFF has been a great partner. They are traditionally a nonprofit CDFI lender, and we actually I did a program with them this morning with Donna and Ian from IFF this morning with the City of South Bend's Easy program, and so they've been a great partner there. Lisk Indy has been a nice partner in connecting and collaborating with them. Intend Indiana has been doing some housing work here in the region. I think folks have seen some of the projects and developments they're working on. And then Bankable has been a great partner down in Anderson. And then Allies for Community Business has actually been the CDFI we've closed the most number of loans with, especially because of our Fusion Fest program that we have that I'll cover in a second. But so a couple of things, I'll describe this graph. For those of you that know me, know I like to make things overly complicated. It's just kind of how I live. And so this graph actually shows two things at once, kind of. The blue bars with the white number there is the number of CDFI loans that we've done per year since we started. And so generally there was about 3 to 4 loans per year in South Bend from CDFIs. And so we doubled that in our first year. We've grown it consistently. This year it grew a lot. In 2024 it grew a lot. And so it's been great to see that growth as we get more CDFIs coming to market. Additional products that have come to the region, from small lines of credit to different capital enhancements. So it's been great to see the way we've grown that amount. The dark blue number is the amount of CDFI lending that we helped connect borrowers to. So you can see that growth from an average historically of about $200,000 a year over the previous 15 years of our start to, in the last few years, we've done 10 times or more that amount per year. And our current pipeline of CDFI lending is well over $3 million for this year or more. And so the work has paid off. So I know Mark Pinsky from CDFI Friendly America is here. And so the theory of how this work would function in real life is happening. That if we create the opportunities and create the connections to bring flexible CDFI capital to the community, it'll work. And it's been great for me to be able to watch that happen. So with that, Fusion Fest, I want to talk a little bit about Fusion Fest and a program we've got coming up. Actually, I just finally confirmed the last detail on what the menu is going to be for the day on May 21st. But Fusion Fest was one of our first programs helping food-focused food vendors for the Fusion Fest that South Bend runs. And so we'll be doing that program again this year. So we're excited to see the third year of that program. But Allies for Community Business is actually going to come to South Bend on May 21st. 21st and to offer a capital access workshop. So this is a workshop where they'll sit with small business owners and talk about their programs, how they can help connect their business to capital and work through some educational pieces as well. And so I think Mary was on here. I'm not sure who else from Allies for Community Business, but they've been a great partner. We're excited to have them here while they're here. So we knew we wanted to do a workshop with them, and we've done these before. We thought we could make a little more of a day out of it. And so in the afternoon, we're getting together some of our food focused entrepreneurs and those that are looking to potentially do some commissary kitchen, either need a commissary kitchen or would like to help create one in the community. We're going to do that. I know I saw Juan sneak into the meeting too. We're going to start those tours on May 21st at 1 p.m. at La Casa. We're going to check out a space that they have. We're working with a couple other community partners to do some additional tours in the community of other potential spaces, and then have some good conversations about what the needs are, what the potential capacity of a kitchen could be, and what the needs would be that we can help fill in this community to help more small businesses, more food-based small businesses scale. So the little QR code there, you can actually scan it. The RSVP form should be working now. I think I worked those bugs out this morning, but that should be working. And we also want to thank Everwise Credit Union for sponsoring that event for us. So the other thing for everybody on this call, at 6 o'clock, there will be a reception. So we're going to plan a day. We're going to have a workshop. The workshop will require RSVPs, and that'll be for food-based businesses, especially for businesses that are thinking about applying for the Fusion Fest, because we can kind of help them get started on their Fusion Fest application there. But at 6 o'clock, we're going to be at Momentum. Did I put that on there? We're going to be at Momentum. And so if you haven't seen the Momentum space yet, or if you missed it during Idea Week, we will be there at 6 o'clock, and word has they're actually going to have some furniture. So that'll be nice. And so you'll definitely get to check that space out and check out brand new furniture in their building. So that's something going on. We'll also send it on our social media probably by tomorrow and get out a little email blast for this May 21st event. We had it as a teaser in our email we sent 2 weeks ago, but now we've got all the details set in stone. And it'll function similarly. I know some of you on this call were at, and the bottom left-hand screen is a workshop we actually did with IFF in December, where we did a workshop for an hour with nonprofit organizations on access to capital, and then afterwards opened it up for a reception in general at the Studebaker Museum. So that's kind of the same flow we'll kind of have here. And on the RSVP form, you can mark which events you want to attend or can attend, and we will send RSVP information accordingly. All right, so we're almost done. So I got one more slide, and it's really just telling you, how can you help us? So one of the things we're always looking for, entrepreneur referrals. I think almost everybody on this list that I kind of scrolled through has had some type of connection to, hey, have you talked to so-and-so, or do you know so-and-so? And so those things are always great for us to connect with an entrepreneur that's looking to purchase equipment or just have questions about finance. And so we love to do that. For our banking friends that are on this call, we would love for you to get engaged in our preferred referral program, where we can help your clients through our programming and partner together to help them access capital and keep them as your client. So we'd love to work on that. The other one is we're got a couple big grants in the works for our capital coaching program. We have a lot of demand, and we're looking to expand that. And so if you and or know somebody who might want to serve as a capital coach, we actually do pay those as contract positions to sit and work with a small business to help get their documents in order and help educate them around the process for applying for a loan with a CDFI, credit union, RLF, local lender. And then the last one, as I always say, supporting local businesses is really, really important. So whether that's, shopping local, spending local, doing something local is really, really important and means a lot. As I work with these small businesses, I see how much of an impact it really does make on them when they've got nice community support. And with that, I am done, and we will take questions. So you can come off mute. I don't know how crazy it'll be trying to manage all of that. I have my email address there, the world's longest domain name. I'll probably stop screen sharing, so maybe I can just see people when you chat. But if there's questions, shoot them at me.